Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk again from this fantastic book that I've been reading. I know I've recommended it several times and certainly have quoted from it many times. And I don't know that it's because it's the best book I've ever read or anything like that, but I think what I really like about it is it's a new framing and a new way of saying something that I've been studying for the last 25 years, which is Jnana Yoga, really, but it's Buddhism. And, just to have such a fresh cultural take on a topic has been really helpful, has really opened up the doors. And I think that's exactly what the master had in mind, Ramakrishna, to be able to hear different religions, different perspectives, different ideologies, different ideals, but to give them a synthesis, give them a focus and a center, understand what your central problem is, understand that all religions dance around that central problem, and all of them develop tools, many of them similar, to take care of that central problem of ego elimination, really. Today there's a chapter called Readiness and Mindfulness. Now, after 25 years, I would have thought that I think I would have heard every approach possible. But today, I read something this morning that was really quite lovely and is gelling in a different way in my head. I'm going to read to you 3 passages today and share kind of how they struck me. We say to realize, but the realization of the truth is always near at hand. It is not after we practice Zazen, or that's just spiritual practice, your sitting, your meditation. It is always near at hand. It is not after we practice Zazen that we realize the truth. Even before we practice Zazen, realization is there. It is not after we understand the truth that we attain enlightenment. To realize the truth is to live, to exist here and now. Now, this is something we talk all the time about, being absolutely present. So he's tying in 2 things here. One is that we don't practice to accomplish something. We practice to realize something that already is, and that isness is our realization. All right, very nice idea. Even before we practice it, enlightenment is there. But usually we understand the practice of Zazen and enlightenment as 2 different things. We see our practice and the goal as being 2 distinct things. Like putting on glasses, then we see enlightenment. This is wrong understanding, okay? So it's not the way that it is. So if you're practicing in order to realize God, your understanding isn't right. There's something amiss there. Very cool. This kind of misunderstanding will vanish if you really understand what emptiness means. That emptiness means everything is always there. And that was the one hand clapping idea. That sound exists because sound always exists. It's just manifested or unmanifested. And once you begin to hear all of that as that's enlightenment. The important thing in our understanding is to have a smooth, free-thinking way of observation. We have to think and to observe things without stagnation. What is stagnation? Without any sense of newness and freshness. It's again bringing in that idea of seeing things for the first time, always and again. A wonderful notion. It was that, as I talked on Sunday, it's that practice of watching a waterfall and seeing it fresh constantly, seeing that initial enthusiasm for how beautiful it is continuously, not letting things become assumptions of mind. We should accept things as they are without difficulty. Our mind should be soft and open enough to understand things as they are. When our thinking is soft, it is called imperturbable thinking. This kind of thinking is always stable. It is called mindfulness. Thinking which is divided in many ways is not true thinking. Concentration should be present in our thinking. This is mindfulness. Whether you have an object or not, your mind should be stable and your mind should not be divided. This is Zazen. All right, the part that really hit me interesting there was this idea of the divided mind. What is a divided mind? Our first temptation is to think that the divided mind is to have a subject-object. That you're watching your thoughts. And so for you to watch your thoughts, you're actually in a divided mind. You've divided it into the person who's thinking and the person who's watching the thinking. The mind who's thinking and the person who's watching the mind. A lot of times, almost all the time, our thought is done in conversation. That, obviously, is a divided mind. To be here now requires not a thinking. It requires a simple being. That division of thinker and hearer has to be dissolved, has to be removed. That's how we move into the current frame and stop living in the betweenness of frames like we talked about yesterday. That idea of being absolutely present, not having an analysis or a thought or watching the mind about the present, but experiencing the present in its moment. So to fill it out, I like the fact that he brought together the idea of concentration, the idea of mindfulness, the idea of enlightenment being always present, the idea of unifying the mind, removing that subject-object, and having a soft mind that's imperturbable. Soft mind means that you haven't got set opinions that get struck up against by experience. You don't have that aversion and attraction that the current experience is butting up against. That's to have that imperturbable mind, to have that soft mind. It's to have an open mind, and a mind that can accept the moment as perfect without requirement of change. What a wonderful idea. What a wonderful thing that we get to move into.